society promises. Brian McLaurin was one of our plenary speakers. He's a rock star, emerging in church theology. But the speaker which impressed me the most was Patty Prasada Rao, a community organizer from Baltimore, from Sandtown. Sandtown is the neighborhood in Baltimore where all the strife is happening. Freddie Gray, the young black man who died while in police custody, was from Sandtown. Patty knew him. As a child, he had suffered from lead poisoning and emotional trauma, which led to behavioral problems in school. You get the drift. The police who arrested Freddie Gray were stationed in Sandtown, the site of the protests and rioting. Some of us were moved to tears as Patty shared stories about life in Sandtown, tragic stories about young black men brought up without a healthy home environment, deprived of good education, deprived of jobs, deprived from the moment of their birth of opportunity or hope for a better life. They turned to selling drugs, not out of greed or criminal intent, but as the only way to support their baby's mama, to support their younger siblings because the parents are addicted to drugs or imprisoned. So many of these young men end up dead or imprisoned. For black men from Sandtown, the average lifespan is 20 years less than the national average. Patty wanted us to understand the damage to the hearts and souls of the young children growing up in Sandtown as they come to realize over the course of their lives that no one values them. But Patty also told us stories about New Song Church, one of the most active churches in Sandtown. They helped Gary, a young black man released from prison, to open a grocery store. Gary was in prison for dealing drugs. Released from prison, he gave up dealing to find a safer life for his wife and children. And after working as a stock boy at a Safe Mart across town, he had a vision that Sandtown needed a grocery store. Sandtown doesn't have a grocery store, just corner markets selling lottery tickets, alcohol, and junk food. New Song Church helped refurbish a storefront. They helped him stock shelves with the first fresh food that community has seen in a long time. Patty also told us about Wendell, who 2 weeks before Freddie Gray's death moved into the halfway house, 2 blocks from the police station, the epicenter of the rioting. He opened it for young men coming out of prison. If they can find these men a job, they can free them from the pipeline, which leads from school to juvenile hall to jail to prison. Patty's face glowed as she told the stories of Wendell, of Gary. Wendell had mentored helping a young man to start his own carpentry business. And the last she had seen, he had customers and was able to support himself and his family. As she shared one example after another of the people of New Song caring for their residents. Charlie, a vet in a wheelchair, who could be seen carting himself around town. The grandma who's no longer well enough to care for her children. As Patty relayed these stories, her face was glowing with the Spirit, and I thought, the Spirit moves where it will, even in the most destitute of neighborhoods. When C.W., another community leader from Sandtown, who actually will be meeting with the mayor this week, asked a question, how can it be that in 70 square blocks that make up our neighborhood, with 52 churches, how can it be that this neighborhood is so destitute? And at that moment, Shannon, a Lutheran pastor from Tennessee, one of the funniest guys I've ever met, and I see him every year at this conference. He could actually be a stand-up comedian. He responded in his Tennessee accent, "Churchianity." What? He said, "Churchianity," not Christianity. And at first I thought, is he acting the comic? Being flippant? I thought, this is no time for stand-up comedy. Patty and CW deserve a better response. But over the course of the conference, Shannon repeated the word again. This is just another example of churchianity. And when a South Korean Methodist from Chicago, lamenting the lack of younger generations in the pews, admitted that his own children seem uninterested in church, Shannon responded, because what they see is churchianity. Sorry, Nancy, for that Tennessee accent. And then again, in a small group discussion, Shannon finally shared an explanation. He got it from his teenage son, who told Shannon that the real religion of the churches is churchianity, not Christianity. Kids, they have an uncanny way of detecting the truth, or telling it like it is. Churchianity. So what did Shannon mean by this? Did his son make it up? I Googled it. According to the Urban Dictionary, churchianity is a term coined by Bible teacher Richard Pope during a sermon, characterizing the condition of the modern-day Christian church and how its teachings are different from the original ideas and message of the historical Jesus. Implicit in this designation is the idea that churchianity is opposite to Christianity, a corruption of Christianity, or at the very least, the church falls short. This brings us to the pivotal line in our lesson from John's Gospel. What is born of the flesh is flesh, and what is born of the Spirit is spirit. For centuries, that statement has been read dualistically, understanding the flesh and spirit as opposites. Flesh and spirit pitted against each other. The flesh is corrupt, the spirit is pure. Those of the flesh go to hell, those of the spirit go to heaven. Such thinking leads to a denial of the body. It demands purity and condemns all those who fall short. It neglects earthly things for heavenly things. And worse, we use it to condemn ourselves. And being human and full of shortcomings, being of the flesh, we repeatedly fall short of heavenly things. We may, to a lesser extent, internalize the same message as the children of Sandtown. Being of the flesh, I am unworthy of love, unworthy of the life of the Spirit and heavenly things. So what are we at St. Paul's? Are we Christianity or churchianity? I can hear Shannon now. The Episcopal Church, our emphasis on ritual, our music, our fine vestments, our brass candles, our smells and bells, that's just churchianity on steroids. I have to agree, but stay with me here because I'm not interested in condemning the church. We practice churchianity, but churchianity is the only way we get to practice Christianity. Indeed, there is not a church in existence today that can truly claim to practice Christianity. Even our attempt to be a cathedral, no matter its earthly dimensions, its prestige and position in the church hierarchy, harbors to its core the spirit of Christianity. For Christianity has no choice but to express itself through worldly trappings. We are all flesh with fleshly desire. We are all created. And our churchianity harbors within it something more. The very stuff of the Spirit, which gives life to all our earthly institutions, bringing life into them, fueling their rebirth, resurrecting them when they need it, no matter how far we may fall short of our call. In fact, I have seen the Spirit move in this place. I have seen this community rally to care for the weak, the sick, the destitute. You've helped refugees rebuild their lives. You've furnished their homes. You've helped their children learn English. You've taught them to drive, and you've even bought them cars. You've cared for sick members of this community, flooding them with meals, with comfort, compassion, and prayers. And I have to say, I don't see that in too many other places in our community. I have seen members of St. Paul's drop everything to help a member of our larger urban community, a parent and child about to be evicted, a father needing a job, and someone who couldn't pay their medical bills. As Paul said, this is bearing witness to the Spirit. Such acts are rare these days. We live in a society in which people are too busy caring for themselves to care for each other. Even families separated by distance don't rally together the way they used to. When Jesus draws this distinction between flesh and spirit, he does not do this that we might condemn each other or ourselves, but so that we might know how it is the Spirit will redeem us. For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, so that everyone who believes in him may not perish, but may have eternal life. Thank you.